Welcome, everybody. 23 years since Joe Barber took Cape Town and many parts of South Africa. You also toured internationally with the show, have you? Of course, so it's taken the world by storm. David Isaacs and Oscar Petersen, two sons of Cape Town, from Parkwood and Ocean View, respectively. And they're here in studio with us. Trained theatre actors, thespians, but can tell a joke or two. David and Oscar, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Firstly, thank you for what you've done to Cape Town Theatre and for Cape Town Theatre over the last 23 years with this particular show, but broadly with the presence that you two have brought. But well done. Let's first start with the most important question. After 23 years and various iterations of Joe Barber and the characters of that show, a family reunion in November. Oscar, we'll start with you. How important is this particular show and these characters to you?
Well, it was kind of obvious for myself and David when we decided to do another show, especially after the 2019 reunion show. What was that called again? That was, anniversary show, I'm sorry. To decide on a reunion because of what we've just been through. So it wasn't difficult to come up with a concept of, reuniting with the people that we are familiar with, the people that we love. And so to contextualize that into a show, it wasn't a difficult decision. So, and the challenges of getting material for that type of show, of course, is not also that challenging because of the various stories that we have in our own families. I mean, the show is based on reality of we might heighten it here and there, but it comes from real people, and and all we do, myself and David, is we bring what we experience and have heard, and collectively we bring that onto the stage and give it back to the people.
Because the characters, David, of Buta Joe, of Washila, come from real people. I'm from Grassy Park, so I'm familiar with Parkwood. I know where the real Joe Barber is, and you're from Parkwood, of course.
That's right. Yeah.
Not too distant from you in terms of conceptualizing this idea, 23, 24 years ago?
Well, the conceptualizing kind of happened way before then, when I was a kid, going to his barber. And kind of something kind of moved me to...
Yeah, I was staying with David. After varsity, I was, trying to find a way to find my feet into my own path, and I stayed at David's parents' house for a while, and he kept coming back from the barber saying, "Oscar, you must hear what this guy just said, man." And I always like, whatever. I mean, and I used to tell him, I have an uncle who's a barber, I know the types of things he probably would have said, but David used to say, you must just hear, you must just feel. And one day I did go with him, and I said, now I see what you're on about.
Yeah.
So you two have been collaborators since very, very early on, alumni of Hidden Campus Hall and UCT. I can also the soothing seas see this and thus suffice us. But how is it from a classically trained background? Both of you have been in Shakespearean productions, real serious TV and film dramas. I'm not saying that you're typecast, but people know David and Oscar as Buta Joe, Buta Khama.
Yeah.
So I think, Joe Barber started out as a reaction to some things. Notably the fact that we were trained and we had come out of drama school into an industry that kind of did not
acknowledge
that in the way of the roles that we were assigned or given or written for. These things we were underrepresented in the roles that we were given. So
Yeah, my main gripe after that experience of the university and so on was when I used to go to auditions, especially for ads and so on. I found that the moment I show any sign of sophistication, the people were not interested in me.
This is snacks. See, this is a true Cape Town trauma response. We laugh at the serious things.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, because we love to keep the peace, I suppose, that's why.
Yeah.
And we were tired of keeping the peace. We were tired of being told how we are and not having our own voice to tell you, no, this is how I'm experiencing it.
Right.
So, so that was exactly that reaction. It's so like, some of the first lines in our show is, why do certain people approach us only in a certain way? Why can't it just be, on a level of equality where you look at me as another person, rather than as a thing that you think you recognize, So, Joe Barber started out of that passion. And both myself and David felt it. The reason why we laugh so much and spend so much time together is because we had that same gedagtes in the back of our head. That's why we hung out at Dom Pedro's and heard other people that felt the same. Because that's what happened at Dom Pedro's. People with same mindsets gathered there.
Dom Pedro's in Woodstock. So, that was my favorite. I was leaving high school, going to study, meeting cool people who took you out to the theater and all those things. And took you out to the theater and took you out to cool bars and places where you met interesting people. So around about 1999 was when Joe Barber started, to around about mid-2000s, maybe 2005, was like my most hopeful time as a young creative in air quotes Cape Townian.
The world just opened up. Literally, the world opened up to us. And we could express ourselves artistically wherever. We were so impatient and so, that was the energy. I'm not saying myself and Oscar, but we kind of fell into that vortex of real excitement for this future that we are here now. We come from this thing.
Yeah.
We were there sitting, also being impatient.
Yes. We knew, we were talking, myself and David were talking about what we felt like it was coming. It's just sitting here like a cultural explosion.
Right.
Specifically from our perspective, that there was going to be a celebration of something that we okay as people, how we identifying at the moment, and that there's a space to celebrate it. And so we always felt that, and we didn't know that we're actually part of being part of the creation of it also.
021-446-0567. If you have a question for Deva and Oscar, we're going to be going to our studio audience, opening it up to them. And of course, it's very difficult on how do you choose the winner of 2 double tickets. So I'm going to leave it up to you two, and it's basically going to be, what's the most interesting question? I'm sorry, because we don't have any auditors, no PricewaterhouseCoopers, nothing. I'm going to leave it up to these 2 gentlemen.
Wie is die man? Ek weet nie, is die girlfriend en wat is die vrou se naam?
Wacht, het jy die ding gelees?
Ek het die ding gelees,
Jy ken die name.
Ek ken hulle name, ja. Wie is die man? Ek weet nie, is die girlfriend en wat is die vrou se naam?
Ja, nee, ek wil die name ken.
Ja, kan me nog eens zien.
Wie is die man?
Ja.
Ek meen die man se naam.
Is wie?
Die man.
Wie?
Die man.
Wie?
Die man.
Wie?
Die man.
Wie?
Hoekom vra jy vir my?
Ek sê, wie is die man?
Ek het eers gevra.
Dis die man se naam.
As wie se naam?
Ja.
Moenie kwa afsou nie man yesterday. Kom, sê vir my.
Wie moet daar gaan wat? Wie?
Die man.
Ja, man, ja.
Dis wat jy snacks, joh.
Ek draai nie om snaaks, dat is regtig hier geskryf. Kom, read it for yourself.
I don't speak. Just explain it properly, man.
Welcome back to our live studio audience. David Isaacs, Oscar Petersen. It is the couple. It's the odd couple. It's the perfect couple. It is the dysfunctional marriage of 2 people who absolutely love each other but can't stand each other. Buta Joe and Buta Kama. Who decided who's gonna play Who and have you ever decided let's interchange? Let me play.
I'll let David answer.
There was a thought about that at the get-go when we started, when we developed these characters. We thought it could be nice for both of us to do a Joe and
then change, no?
and interchange.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can both play both. But
After about, it wasn't a few days
it
even.
was a few days
Yeah.
when, I think it was the Khamat's speech rhythms that
Yeah,
started.
that's
and that just took him off into a whole other dimension.
Yeah.
And we couldn't catch him anymore.
But we also knew that, from this is where the training part comes in. You have to have tension. There has to have, drama is about tension. It's about what's unspoken. It's more about that than it is, because you could do a piece with just movement without saying a word and people will still know what's going on. So if there's tension and it's the right amount of tension.
Stories also to have character traits and heroes arcs. That's what you get taught at drama school, and how to write for screen and stage. There's a deep philosophy between Buta Joe and Buta Khamat. Buta Khamat is deeply exasperated, a frustrated man with wife troubles, and his energy sits like that squeaky ENT.
He's a reaction, he has
sits
reaction.
in his stomach. Buta Joe is a lot more contemplative.
Yeah.
He takes it as his arms are behind his back. He observes life. Are these the real people in which these characters are based, Oscar?
Yes, it is. Apart from the fact that we did our research and we went around to different barbers, and we had Joe Swain as an inspiration. We also have people in the family. I had an uncle who was a barber for many years, all his life basically. Butasani Herman from Ocean View. And I grew up with him, and I used to see how people looked up to him in the barber, because we used to go. I used to play with his sons, which are my cousins and my best friends. And on a Saturday at 1 o'clock, we used to go sit in the barber, because then all the priests from church would come and have their haircut, because that's the special hour for them, you see. Then I used to see my uncle being the wise man that he is, and the rest of the priests, because this is adults sitting listening to him. So what used to happen is they used to listen to the Pip Freeman show first, because that happened at 1 on Springbok Radio back in the day. And then after that, because everybody listens to that first, and then my uncle would start talking, and then the priest would sit and listen. So I knew that Joe somehow in the back of his head had to be, because my uncle wasn't educated, but he was a wise man. So he used his life and his experiences to, one of the things he said, and we said this in old shows, one time, one of the jokes, this is a real joke, it's really something he said. He said, if a white person asked, remember, put it in context, but back in the day, people felt very marginalized. So he said, in front, this is what I heard him say, he said, if a white person asks you a question, and you don't know how to answer that question, just say, what is the next question, please?
That's a good question. Does where one come from determine how we see the world? You're from Ocean View. I know some lovely people from Ocean View. You're from Parkwood. Parkwood has this very, very interesting dynamic within that southern suburbs part of the world, where just one road differentiates it from fairways. And if you want to just inform our listeners, it is how language, English and Afrikaans, meets class, relatively comfort and middle class versus poor and middle class. It's simply divided by one street separates fairways and Parkwood. Did that impact how you see life, politics, even the theatre world?
Yeah, definitely. I come from the Parkwood side of things, and growing up, definitely. Also, you need to consider that this was a different time in the early 80s, and the level openness wasn't as we have it right now. So English was considered for the upwardly mobile. It was, and that was a suburb that was celebrating that. And where Afrikaans was spoken in Parkwood, and so you'd come over the border and you'd be told or let know in no uncertain terms that this is ours, this is where we are.
And
now.
that's represented in characters like Ochi and Washila, where their response, and this is what you do lovely, you break the fourth wall with audience and character. And the audience is people who are coming to the Baxter.
Absolutely.
So Ochi and Washila respond to the audience in the way they see as self-defense, talking in English.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In real time, yeah.
In real time.
It's, subliminally, I think what we try and make of things like that subliminally and on a sort of some level is trying to make the nonsense of the power of language and how we use language as a means of power to either suppress or uplift. Yeah. So what we want to say is it doesn't matter. I mean, doesn't matter what language you communicate in. It's the communication that's the most important part of it. And and so
which is why at the beginning we like with the Hamad specific, both of us, we went really fast and very much against our training, which was everybody must understand and we need to.
That's why we made fun of Shakespeare and all of our training.
But what kind of tended to happen was with the Hamad goes as fast.
Sometimes you don't even have to hear what he's saying. You kind of know what he's saying already.
So basically, you understand. The audience here kind of understood exactly what I was saying, but it kind of compelled our audience to tune in to what it is. It's not how we're saying it, but because it happens so fast that people kind of kept quiet and started listening to where it's like
Before we go to Eyewitness News, and we in conversation live here on Cape Talk with our lovely audience and listeners. 021-446-0567. If you have a question, you have a quote, you have an impersonation, let's go to a quick voice note now.
Lester, thanks once again for a great show. Look, the cast is special, but a very special thank you to Oscar Petersen, because he's from Ocean View and I'm biased like that, and I'm from Ocean View. That he hasn't neglected his hometown. He still comes and does motivational speaking, and he puts back into Ocean View. Thank you, Oscar, for that, man, and thank you for being an inspiration towards the young ones and the adults even. People like me, Thank you so much. This is Vasco from Ocean View.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, Ouchie.
Awe wasila. Kurutiometer speaking to so plino was kazana full say what people assisticate your bang dangum skanka.
Oh, I'm very sorry, I don't brought Scully.
Welcome back. We're having a great time here. It's hot under lights. Let's just quickly, before we go to our studio audience here who has a chance of winning tickets to Joe Barber family reunion, are you equally aware of writing tropes, lovable characters? And I love Ochi, I love Washila. Also aware it speaks to a certain trope in the writing process and who you are as actors. Is the tropes of coloredness also something that you are aware of, or you say, heck it, this is who a lot of our people are. This is people who I know.
So the representation of the characters, we did worry about that. We tried to introduce new characters. And we found that our audiences didn't necessarily like that. That's why we're coming back with them again. Our audiences are hooked on the ones that we have because we've cemented them in some kind of way or the other. So our question was, what is the representation of sophistication then that we are so after, you know? And we realized it's not really in the characters necessarily. It's in the writing. It's in what's not said in the words. It's about how we choose to represent the characters. That's where the sophistication comes in. It's the subliminal messaging that we create in. These are not things we were necessarily aware of right from the beginning, except that we knew we needed to, you know, bring some sophistication in there. It's after a long while we discovered that's where it is.
Because characters can also be funny for who they are, but also have dignity and own their dignity.
Absolutely. And we noticed after a few years that our characters don't talk down to each other.
We were always equal.
Even when they're arguing.
Even when they're arguing, especially then. We just noticed that. And I think that also is seated in the deep respect that we have for each other. And that we enjoy protecting that and taking care of that. And I think that's a spillover of that it's born out of like through love and respect for each other, for ourselves, and for especially
the people
for our
that we feel we
audience.
serve. Yeah.
I want to go to our studio audience here. Let's go to Arlene. I think she's here in front. Remember, these two gentlemen will choose what for them is the two best questions. They will then go on to win the 2 double tickets. So Arlene, you better be good.
I'll try my best. Hi guys!
Hi, Arlene.
Yeah, act natural. So yeah, I'm Arlene Petersen, also a professional stand-up comic from Lavender Hill. So first of all, I want to tell you guys thank you, because that's where it started. Now for real, I feel like you guys were in the forefront of what's happening right now. So my question is a 2-part question. So I also recently just had my debut show at the Baxter Theatre in March.
Congratulations.
So thank you
Well
guys,
done.
thank you. So I want to know, what was the challenges for you guys 23 years ago, putting up a show with no social media? No? Because I have an army of TikTok followers and it was difficult for me to sell out too, right? What was the challenges back then? And what is the challenges right now with social media? My last question is, do you guys have a chair that I can rent in, Joe Barber? Do the nails, you know, for the girls? As jy vat in as ek kom die kinders, so die girls kan mos saamkom en hulle nails doen. Okay.
There's so many images I went through my head while she was talking. So I don't even know which is the question anymore.
I'll answer the third question. There is definitely a space for you, a chair for you, in the near future. We're planning on doing a lot more online shows, offerings, and with that we are able to move around. We are able to be mobile, be at different places at different times, and invite different friends to come and play with us, you know, with the characters and that kind of thing. So yeah.
And there was a couple, okay, past the other questions. There's a couple of challenges. One of the challenges we had back in the day, okay, first of all, it wasn't so much of a challenge in that we, myself and David, had nothing to lose. So we had everything to gain. And at the point where we lost, and this is when we did our first video, we distributed that video and people pirated it. That was a big deal for us, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
Apparently the most watched movie in Cape Town is Four Corners, because it was being pirated so much.
Exactly, and we kind of wrote that. We
wrote it off.
It was a VHS. We printed about 1,000, and it went viral before virality was
a thing. Yeah.
And like policemen would come to me and say, "I've got a VCD of you. We want to sign it." It's like, so okay. Anyway.
Is it Eber? Eber is right here in front of me.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much. I was just thinking about, you know, the 24th of September is Heritage Day, and I've been asked the question, what's your heritage, what's your culture? And it's like I feel like I can just give them your DVD and say, watch this, and you'll know my heritage and my culture, you know. And it's something that I can relate to, especially like if I think of the story about Ochi Omi Cake tent, and you know, yeah, my father was the preacher in the tent, but I was the guy running around the tent and having so much fun, you know. But it's those memories, and certain cultures can't identify with that, you know. So if they watch that, maybe they get a sense of it. So I want to thank you also for what you've done for our community. And it's not just one, as I say, the colored community, the heritage, we have such a lot and we're so diverse, but yet through all the individual stories that you say throughout the thing, you capture something about each one, whether you're northern, southern suburbs, Ocean View, you know. So I want to thank you for that, yeah. But I need to turn it into a question to qualify for the competition.
Slim van sy bas.
Ek was nogal oud, ja. But anyway, are your stories personal experiences? For example, like the camping experience at Soetwater. That was anyway for drink.
Yeah, it was. Some of it, we interweave stories, different stories, some of which we've heard. One of the stories that, that particular camping one, is something I experienced at the same place versus a story I heard that happened at that very same place. So I melted the two stories together and made it a Ochi story. That we often do that in the show.
Yeah. For this round, let's go to Ryan.
You guys are honestly my favorite colored heroes. I watched your show first when I was 13 years old.
Sure.
So obviously a lot of time has passed there. We all grew up. I got older. You guys also got older. And I feel like you are turning into your characters now, Buddha Joe and Buddha Gaman. With all that time that passed and with COVID and with the way everything has evolved with social media, how does that affect the dynamic of the characters that you play?
Nice question.
So from the beginning, we kind of had this alternate universe happening for myself and Oscar. It just kind of happened where we believe, like where we're sitting right now, that Joe and Hamad are busy doing something there.
Yeah.
So they are living their lives in real time as we are all. And people are expanding. So nobody stays in one place. And what's exciting for us is that there is growth, exponential growth for all of our characters. Washila is not just one person. She becomes, with the time, and over 20 years, there has to have been growth and has to have been different perspectives on life. And that's what makes it interesting and dynamic. So Hamad also has technological advances and all of those things. That we're not stuck in one place, you know what I mean? Which makes for us, that we move on.
Absolutely, and a lot of what he's just talked about will be reflected in our next show, you'll see.
Yeah.
Is not my sugar levels. Sy wil nou hê ek moet dit jy sit praat. Sit nou met sy. He now wants me to talk from the house now. Sit nou met sy. Is not my sugar levels. Is not my sugar. Is my wife Washila, and that's all. My wife Washila could for 3 weeks now. She don't talk to me. I don't know what I did do for her. Sy praat nie saam en she don't talk to me. The lighties don't talk to me, but die hondjie praat ook nie saam. Weet jy, ek speel saam met die hondjie kyk my net so aan so. Met die dingetjie, ek sê so hondjie. Sit hy luister nie man.
Hulle het daai hondjie by die SPC gekry. Hy hond was al klaar 10 uur wat hulle die hond gekry het. Hy was eers wat mense so hond, hy moet Engels praat met die hond verstaan hom nie. Hy hond het 'n plan set groot geword maar wat
ek praat in Engels saam met die hond. Ek praat in Engels. Ek gaan ra.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's go straight into our questions. Nasli. Where's Nasli?
Leslie there at the back.
Hi, thank you. Firstly, I wish my dad and my husband was alive for this moment.
Wow.
So yeah, your creation and creativity, why did it not go over into the film industry, making a movie?
Ooh, nice question.
Very good question.
Nice leading question. No, we are in the process now. We've been talking about a movie for a long time, but now we are actively in the process of writing. And hopefully in the next year or so, we'll start the filming process. We're also in the process of fundraising and all of that kind of thing. But Joe Barber Movies are things that we are thinking of.
Jacqueline, where's Jacqueline?
Yes, thank you so much, Victor. And guys, I don't think I'm on this. Let's just go on there.
Shot cool. Thank you so much. So, just the backstory, I went to Germany a couple of years ago, and my nephew, the first thing he wanted to do with all of his friends in trying to explain who I am, gooide Joe Barber on the screen. So it goes far. Your story goes very, very, very far. Thank you very, very much for this. So my question to you is, I've seen you in many movies, both of you. I've seen you in productions, State Theatre, Artscape, you name it. Hoekom maar nou elke keer hiertoe kom, man? Why now Joe Barber every time? What about Joe Barber just lights you up? Tell us about that, please.
I think it feeds me. It feeds us. It constantly feeds us. It never. We've tried to walk away from it. We really have. We as happens in relationships and so on, we get tested over the years. And we really tried, and it wouldn't let us go. It wouldn't. It would always come and fetch us again in an idea. Sorry.
We're some of the lucky ones in that we did have Joe Barber to feed us. So that what happened was, because in this industry, and even with Joe Barber, I mean, if you think of any other show that is around that have already done the rounds, have gone to TV and have gone back and it's already dead, we're still living. And one of the reasons why is because we didn't have the breaks that other shows had, and then we kept at it with the same level of intensity and the same level of intention with the show that we did. And so that carried us through, and so we tried to create other shows at the same time, but being part of the challenge, that question of earlier on, was how to survive the industry and be creative at the same time. So we were lucky in one way, but unlucky that we couldn't do many more other ideas that we still have. But this time we're going to give it a bash. We really are.
Excellent. Let's go to the phone lines quickly. Unfortunately, Charlene, you won't qualify for the tickets because you're not here. But Charlene on the line. Good morning, Charlene.
Hi, good morning. I'm so sorry I'm not qualifying, but anyway, maybe my story will make me qualify. So my friend and my friends here today, we're listening to the show. So we saw the first Joe Barber shows. I think it was at a warehouse somewhere in Greenpoint. If I'm right, guys.
That's correct.
I can't remember. Yes, and we just had a ball of our time, and both our husbands have now passed on. And we were now just reminiscing of that time when we went to your show and what we did and how fun it was and that. So guys, you really have made an impact on our lives and even on our children's lives. Because when your video came out, we bought one. We didn't pirate it. So yeah. So our children over the years, everybody used to come to our house to watch Joe Barber. And this one child that used to come to my house is in America, and she asked me to please send her that video, a copy of that video, so that she can watch it because she misses Cape Town so much. So yeah, guys, you are really awesome. You really make Cape Town and colours rock because colours do rule. Thank you, guys.
Charlene, really appreciate it. Gavin, good morning, Gavin.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Gavin.
Awesome being here. My question is a two-part question. Is there Joe's Barber?
Mm-hmm.
And if there is, do you still cut your hair there?
Yeah, I would cut my hair there, and there is a Joe's Barber. He's kind of semi-retired now, so he's working from home and so on. So myself and Oscar, even before the lockdown, he started scaling down and so on. But with every show we do a kind of
yeah, we have a ritual.
Yeah, where we go to him, catch up, and we're in touch now and then, you know. So yeah, there is a definite Joe Barber, and we do. I'm shooting a TV show at the moment, so my ears I can't cut my hair, but I would go to Joe for his haircut. And my other barber is also here, Yogi Barber, right there at the back.
Yeah. Yogi cuts, they would say a lot.
Can I tell you, I last cut my hair in 2003.
I can see that, brother.
But when I lived in and around the CBD, I'd simply just want to be in a Barber experience, and I'd go to Yogi's just to
He's the
square
guy.
up
Ooh, liquor,
whatever
man.
beard I had. We're for 2 more questions that will qualify for the tickets. Hillary.
Yeah.
Hi guys, what
Hi,
a
Larry.
privilege to be here, and thank
wow.
you for always making sure that ek lag hier van binne uit my lag uit as ek julle jokes hoor, no matter how many times I hear it. My question is very simple. Werk julle? Het julle day jobs?
Oh, yes.
Yes. So I have a day job at the moment. I had it for 3 years now. It's at a popular soap opera called Zuidooster, and I'm doing voice coaching there as well as casting. So I've been doing that for 3 years. So yes, I do have a day job. My first one ever, and I'm in my 50s. And so David actually gave them the proposal that I should do that job there when David was directing at Zuidooster. So David directs many shows. David's directed me in TV shows as well. So that is partly his day job, but he's freelancing again.
Right. So I've directed for a few years now. I did some shows on all over the show, drama series and that kind of thing, and then decided to do a little bit more acting this year. So and in line with Joe Barber, I wanted to get my muscles and getting ready for the show. So I took on a lot more acting projects.
We'll have chance for one more qualifying question. We'll promise we will continue this conversation after we have to go off there. But is it Jean? John. Apologies, John.
Sure.
I was hoping you were saying Gio, like that's going to be me. I think first, again, thank you so much for this moment. I think unknown writers writes this quote say that life is not measured by the amount of breath we take, but the moments that take our breath away. And I think this is one of that moments, and I really just want to honor you guys for that thing. And whether I win tickets or not, hoping we win tickets. But my question is that when this all fades, because we're not here forever, what is there that you guys can, because I want to remember this moment, hey, they told me this. What is the encouragement that you want to let Jean remember? And the other guys that's in the comedy series or lifestyle, or what is it that you guys can tell me that I can take home and I'll be like, when life hits, I'll let I from make see.
Well, do you want to answer? If there's one thing I learned now recently because of an incident where something I did failed, and then I realized something. I realized the project that we were on failed, and the people that were all involved were people of color. And I realized one thing. I thought to myself, we are actually nothing without each other. We need each other. So my thing was, after it happened, I said to myself, I can let this thing break me or make me. And I decided to make me, and I thought, what should I do? And I realized we don't have problems with other people. We have problems with ourselves. So we start at home. You fix it there, and that need for each other will be a blissful experience. So I hope we live a blissful life.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much. We're running out of time. I need our 2 guests to decide the first 2 names. You don't have time to conquer Arlene, Eber, Ryan, Nasli, Jacqueline, Gavin, Hillary, or Jean. Quickly, you choose one.
The movie question over there at the back. Yeah,
Nasli.
Nasli. Thank you so much for it.
The last question.
And John, congratulations. But every one of our studio audience gets a ticket to see
Yay!
Family Reunion. That's David Isaacs, Oscar Petersen, yeah, live in studio.
The Morning Review with Lester Kiewit.
Only on Cape Talk.